Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My Two Cent video for this week, where I take a look at some of the stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion. And we honestly got like 8 to be exact. And while this video will probably come up on Saturday, though, we have the 8th one is one that just broke on Friday. When I'm recording this today, regarding Metroid Prime 4, so I will get to that one pretty soon. But we'll start off with our first part of our My Two Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be talking about the announcement that was made that the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventure, both 1 and 2, are in development and are coming over to consoles. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, those of you may or may not be familiar with, the Angry Video Game Nerd was a character created by a YouTuber by, I believe he's saying his name correctly, James Roth, who has done different videos with that character, and some of them are funny as hell, such as the one with the Bugs Bunny, to be exact, when you looked at Bugs Bunny's birthday blowout, to some of the Christmas ones, such as the ones where you looked at like some of these Bible type games made by Wisdom Tree and so forth, to even his other character, Board James, where he looked at some of the board games out there, such as like Fireball Island, King of the Castle, Tornado Rex, and other stuff. And I think the other Christmas one he just recently did one with Macaulay Culkin as well. They looked at the Home Alone games, Home Alone 1 and 2. He's also gotten into some controversy, though, depending on how you want to look at it, though, and based on his decision and why he was not going to review Ghostbusters 2016, known as Ghostbusters Answer the Call. And while some people, while there were some that did not agree with him on that, and some have criticized it, though, I will say my opinion on that one is that it is his YouTube channel and so forth, and if he doesn't want to review it, that's his decision and his so forth, though. Well, and anyway, though, back in 2013, they did release a video game of the Angry Video Game Nerd, originally released on PC and Steam, before making their way over to the consoles, especially over to the Wii U and the 3DS. And while the game was fun, it was hard as hell, especially if you're playing it on normal and all that stuff. Easy is a bit more tolerable, but it was certainly a hard video game and all that so forth. But it was certainly fun nevertheless. And well, now it looks like we are getting both of those games. According to several articles, I believe this one's from comicbook.com, it reads, quote, Screenwave Media announced during the Penny Arcade South event this week in San Antonio that Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 Deluxe is coming to consoles sometime this year. The game was playable at the event all weekend, and though a release date wasn't given, it shouldn't be too far off. Though no specific consoles were mentioned, it looks like the Nerd game will be coming to the Switch for sure, since the game was previously released for the Wii U, along with the Xbox One and PS4. They put us Twitter that says, Angry Video Game, Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 Deluxe, both games enhanced soon. Yes, we're developing for consoles. Go try it out at PAX South today. They posted this on Twitter. As far as in terms of the breakdown, we'll have the first Angry Video Game Nerd Adventure, although there are some reports that one's being enhanced or tweaked a little bit, and the Angry Video Game Nerd 2 Assimilation, if I'm saying the name correctly, though, that was released on PC but never saw the light of day on consoles, as far as I'm aware of. And it basically reads, the synopsis for that one reads, when a mysterious beam from space changed the world into a video game, the angriest gamer you ever heard must return to put the, quote, and part of my language on this, ass in assimilation. Experience the classic NES hard challenge you come to love, mixed with new mechanics, abilities, and collectible armor pieces that the nerd must utilize in order to defeat his most challenging foe yet. This time, the Angry Video Game Nerd isn't just saving his friends, he is saving the world. If you're a fan of old school difficulty, fart jokes, the nerd, and or old school platformers, you'll love the Angry Video Game Nerd 2 Assimilation. The announcement that this is coming to consoles is definitely a welcome addition. Like I said earlier, I remember playing the first one on the Wii U and also the Nintendo 3DS though, and like I said, they were hard, but they were definitely fun games. So it's nice to see them being ported over to consoles, even though they haven't announced which consoles they're coming to. I'm pretty sure by now people figure that it's coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch as well. I don't know if there's going to be a physical version or not. We'll have to wait and see, but if a physical version does happen, I would definitely be down with picking that up, although I don't mind downloading it though. I still prefer the physical option indeed. So it's great that these games are coming over to consoles. Here's to hoping they announce one for the Nintendo Switch, although I suspect that it will probably come to the Nintendo Switch. And I'm hoping that if this does well, I would love for them to do a Angry Video Game Nerd Adventure 3. I would love for them to do that, and my take would be if they turn it into a Metroidvania style approach. That would be awesome, though. Of course, we don't know if that will ever happen or not, but we'll have to wait and see if that ever does. So that would be my take on that one. But overall, great that the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventure 1 and 2 are coming to consoles. I'm assuming it's going to come to PC as well. Here's to hoping it does well. This time around, I heard that the sequel didn't exactly do as well, though. But hey, we'll see about that. But overall, great that we're getting a bundle or a deluxe, or supposedly a deluxe version of the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventure. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with some information that has come out about the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at some comments have been made so far, at least, regarding the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11. Now, one of the most interesting announcements that was made during the Video Game Awards, outside of a couple announcements such as, like, say, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 being a Switch exclusive, was the announcement of a new entry in the Mortal Kombat series known as Mortal Kombat 11. But one that caught some people's attention, though, was the fact that this game was coming to the Nintendo Switch, and that kind of surprised some people a little bit, though, although by this point, not everybody is surprised, especially after what Bethesda pulled with announcing Doom and Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus that came to the Nintendo Switch, which, for the record, weren't bad ports or anything like that. They were actually good ports though, but obviously not the version for everybody. Anyway, some information has recently came out where the developers were interviewed by the site Game Revolution, and they talked about what to expect in the game and all. And then the question started to come up about the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11, and basically the developers gave an interesting response to it regarding that version. In an interview with with Game Revolution, regarding the Switch version at very least, this is sort of near the end, here's what it said. The question they asked was, first, Mortal Kombat hasn't been on a Nintendo platform since Armageddon in 2007. How is the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11 coming along? And the developer's response are, I actually really like the Switch build. I like the Joy-Con controllers more than I thought. We're trying to reach as many people as we possibly can, so we're going to take that opportunity. The interviewers, Game Revolution, also asked, but that opportunity comes at a cost since it isn't as strong as the other systems. How do you downgrade it without sacrificing its core or frame rate? And the developers responded, there's a special geometry reduction that happens to make it work on the Switch. The end product is actually really fantastic. We're actually not developing in-house. It's being developed by Shiver Studio. They're developing it at the same time as us, so it's sort of a co-development. There is no lead SKU. I can't wait to play it on Xbox, but I'll have the Switch version too for practice, though. It's worth pointing out that supposedly Aulx Studio, from what I understand, developed, I think also ported one of the Scribblenauts games over to the Nintendo Switch. As far as having this studio develop this game, though, I'm going to come out and say, or at least the ones handling the Switch version to be exact, I'm going to come out and say that I want to give the studio the benefit of the doubt. I understand some Nintendo fans might be concerned, especially since it's not Panic Button or Iron Galaxy or Vertical handling the Switch version. I know there might be some that might be concerned that this could be another WWE 2K18 situation, and that's obviously a situation we do not want to see on the Nintendo Switch. I really do not want to see another game like that make its way over to the Nintendo Switch. The way that it was handled, that is, though. But I am going to give this development team the benefit of the doubt. I want to see how well they handle the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11. I'm willing to expect the most likely scenario that the Switch version would probably I'm guessing it probably will be at 720p 30 frames per second, though. If they can hit 60, though, that would be great, even if it's at 720p. I understand some people would rather see it at 1080p 60 frames per second, or 4K or all that stuff. If you're going with 4K, then just go with either the PS4 Pro or Xbox One X or a PC version, to be exact. But I'm hoping that this game is handled properly, though. I do believe that it probably will be, but we'll have to wait and see until the final product comes out. My hope is that we do see actual gameplay footage of the Switch version to see how that game's being handled, because it's great that they're talking about it, but I think a lot of people will be more comfortable if they actually see it. And if it turns out they don't show any footage by the time the game comes out, some might take that as the Switch version is not going to look good or anything like that. But we'll have to wait and see on that one, though. As far as whether or not the game is being delayed or anything, I didn't see anything of them touch up on it. And as of where it stands, it seems the delay still probably could be impacting Europe, where I'm still seeing an April 23rd release date for North America. So we'll have to wait and see on the release date, though. But as far as the Switch versions go, I'm going to give the developers that are working on the Switch port the benefit of the doubt, though. I want to see how that version plays. I'm hoping it plays well. I'm hoping it plays as good as what Doom and Wolfenstein 2 on the Nintendo Switch played, though, even if it's running at 720p 30 frames per second, though. Yes, I would prefer 60, though. If they could do that, that would be great. If they go and keep it at 30, that's fine, as long as it's a stable 30 frames per second. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 3, and this one has to do with December 2018's NPD sale. So take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My Choose Cent video for this week, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the December 2018 NPD sale. So the holiday season has come and gone, and so we're gonna have to figure out who did well this holiday season. And while it looks as though all three systems, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, did very well, it seems as though Nintendo may have came out the big winner, at least in certain areas of the holiday seasons. We'll start off first. Let me get that. According to VentureBeat, though, here's what they had to say, quote, about December 2018's NPD. They're saying that game fans in the United States spent $3.4 billion on video game software and accessories in December, according to industry tracking firm the NPD Group. That's 2% year over year. The increase was due primarily to accessory and game card sales. In terms of hardware and software breakdown, I mean, that's what they're saying and all that stuff. But in terms of the best-selling games of 2018 so far, for the December of 2018, interesting enough, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate took the #1 spot for December 2018, though, becoming the best-selling game right there, with Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at number 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 3. As far as other Nintendo games go on the list, though, it has Mario Kart 8 was at number 6, Super Mario Party at number 8. Number 9, we had Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Number 12, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Super Mario Odyssey at number 13, with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 14. As far as Sony goes, let's see, where it is. As far as Sony goes, it appears as though the only game they had there for the best-selling game for December was Marvel Spider-Man at number 10. Interestingly enough, the article points out that, quote, December was a big month for Nintendo. 7 of the top 20 games are exclusive to the Nintendo system, which is significantly more than any other publisher. Every Nintendo game has benefited from the Switch success. Mario Kart 8, for example, finished 2018 as the second best-selling racer ever, behind only Mario Kart Wii. Nintendo generated more revenue than any other publisher for the first time since 2009. That doesn't include in-game spending, though. It also points out, obviously, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate by saying, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is already a blockbuster hit. It is the top-selling game of December, and thus the number 5 best-selling game of all of 2018. What's stunning about this is that Nintendo games do not include digital sales on this chart. Call of Duty, Red Dead, and Spider-Man all do, at least on console. It points out Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the best-selling game of December 2018 and the 5th best. Okay. The writer wrote, packaged software launched more dollar sales of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate exceeded those of previous best franchise history, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, by over 70%. And it also points out, that Red Dead Redemption 2, which is still a really good game by chance, Black Ops 4 still continues to do very well. As far as each individual systems go, unfortunately, I couldn't find it on Ventures Beat. This one I had to find on Nintendo Times. But according to them, as far as the 20 best-selling games of 2018 so far, obviously Red Dead Redemption 2 is at number 1, which I think that's great. I really enjoy that game. With Black Ops 4 at number 2. As far as Nintendo games go, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate enters in at number 5. Super Mario Odyssey enters in at number 15. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild enters in at number 18. Super Mario Party enters in at number 19. And Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu enters in at number 20. As far as Sony games go, Marvel Spider-Man enters in at number 6, with God of War 2018 entering at number 8. Unfortunately, none of the Xbox games like Forza Horizon 4 or anything like that is on this list, unfortunately. As far as the best-selling Nintendo Switch games of 2018, the top 10 are Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 1, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 2, Super Mario Odyssey at number 3, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 4, Super Mario Party at number 5, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu at number 6, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee at number 7, Splatoon 2 at number 8, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze at number 9, and Kirby Star Allies at number 10. As far as the best-selling PlayStation 4 games of 2018, Spider-Man is at number 3, and God of War is at number 4. Otherwise, number 1 goes to Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 2 goes to Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Number 5 goes to NBA 2K19. Number 6 goes to Madden NFL 19. Number 7, Far Cry 5. Number 8, Monster Hunter World. Number 9, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And number 10, FIFA 19. As far as the Xbox goes, for the 10 best-selling Xbox games of 2018, the only exclusive on that list are basically two. Number 6 with PUBG, and number 9 with Forza Horizon 4. Other than that, Black Ops 4 is the number 1 best-selling Xbox game for 2018, with Red Dead Redemption at number 2, Madden NFL 19 at number 3, NBA 2K19 at number 4, Far Cry 5 at number 5, already told you about PUBG at number 6, Assassin's Creed Odyssey at number 7, Monster Hunter World at number 8, Forza, already told you about Forza Horizon 4 at number 4, and Battlefield 5 at number 10. So, obviously, a couple things I take away from this, though. Obviously, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Black Ops 4 is still continuing to do very well, even though supposedly Activision is certainly not happy. It's not generating the money they want to and all that stuff, mostly because of the monetization, BS, and all that stuff, though. But it's great to see Red Dead Redemption 2 is still holding out, though. I really do like that game. I'm glad it's doing very well. Here's to hoping we see maybe more content to the game, hopefully like good DLCs and all that stuff. But to see Smash Brothers actually take the number 1 spot is really nice. And to see that the Nintendo Switch is doing very well, it's really good. And I do feel like they may actually reach that 20 million units that they are sticking towards, though. I think there is a good chance they could. And obviously, whether you like Smash Brothers or not, you cannot underestimate the fact that that thing is a system seller in a way, though. There are people that will buy a system just to play one game. As crazy as that's going to sound to some people, it is actually true. So it's really great that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is doing very well. I'm glad it's reaching at the number 1 spot, though. It will be interesting to see where it ranks when we get January's NPD charts. Where does it disappear off the chart? Does it drop a bit or anything like that? So it's pretty surprising, especially them overtaking Red Dead Redemption 2 to a certain degree. I mean, although to be fair, Red Dead Redemption 2 did come out in October. I think Smash Bros. Was released in November and so forth. So overall, great that Red Dead Redemption 2 is doing well, and great that the Switch is selling very well, and really good that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the number 1 best-selling game of December of 2018, and number 5 as the best-selling game of 2018, though. Although I would like to see going forward, though, NPD also tracking the digital sales as well. That would be nice if they would do that down the road at some point. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 4, and this one has to do with a rumor regarding Fallout 76. So take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 4 of our My Two Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a rumor that has been going around with Fallout 76. Now, Fallout 76 has not been in the best of situations, and it seems as though every time Bethesda tries to do something, they've made it worse and worse. The game was launched by many as broken, unplayable, buggy, which may have been okay with the whole bugs and all in past Bethesda games, but this one really did not rub people in the wrong way. There was a whole Power Armor edition where the canvas bag, where people were supposedly going to get the canvas bag, but got a cheap nylon bag that didn't sit very well with a lot of people. Not to mention reports that the canvas bag was handed out to supposedly game journalists and YouTube influencers, or people who influence people on YouTube and all that stuff. Assuming that story's true. There was that Bethesda was going to ship the canvas bag, only to find out that some people's information may have been leaked online. that didn't sit very well. The PC version, obviously, not everybody was happy that Bethesda was launching it on their launcher and not Steam, with certain issues or certain resolutions not hitting very well, and many are concerned about with the upcoming Rage 2, to be exact. And of course, there was a whole situation where if people set off nukes, the game would crash and all that stuff, to Bethesda banning people. Some of it justifiable, some of it not. And the whole silence on the situation, in most part, has really, really hurt this game, and it has, sales-wise, from what we've been hearing, has not been very well. Well, apparently a rumor that has started to pop up recently before Bethesda responded to this gave an indication that Bethesda may have been changing course with Fallout 76. In an article from Game Radar, it was reported that, according to what they're saying, is that Fallout 76 first few months have been rough, but don't expect Bethesda to immediately hit the big red go to free play button. Basically, they're saying that many games, supposedly they're saying, let me get to the article, sorry. Multiple EB Game Australia customers noticed the standard edition of Fallout 76 was no longer available at local stores. Combined with the difficulty of the game has faced since launch, it was enough to make some speculation that EB Games was clearing out inventory in advance of a big free-to-play announcement from Bethesda. Kind of jumping to the conclusion there, but they were not kind of down with Fallout 76, and it prompted some response from Twitter. First of all, EB Games in Australia recently answered a question by someone about this, and they said, quote, "This information is categorized incorrect. EB Games will continue to support Fallout 76 both brand new and pre-owned, and it remains as an active product through both our stores and website. Customers can now pick up the EB exclusive Tricentennial, TRICENTENNIL edition for $79.95. They also responded to another person who asked about why Fallout 76 was removed to the store, and they wrote, AV Game Australia wrote, EB Games will continue to support Fallout 76 both brand new and pre-owned, as it remains an active product through both our store and website. And someone asked Bethesda on Twitter, and they said, quote, "If Fallout 76 goes free to play, I want my money back straight up. 500 atoms ain't going to cut this time. As a diehard fan, there's no coming back to that slap in the face." And Bethesda responded by saying, "There is no truth to this rumor." So, according to Bethesda, they're saying right now that the game is not going free to play or any subscription or anything like that at this moment. That said, I wouldn't rule it out completely, though. At this point, given the negativity that the game has gotten and so forth, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that Bethesda may decide at one point down the road to perhaps maybe cut their losses and say, screw it, let's go free to play with it, let's do a subscription fee on it. Because at this point, they've mishandled this very poorly, and honestly, they're not going into 2019 in the best of positions, though. Especially how they handle Fallout 76. It could have an effect. It could have a possible effect on, say, upcoming games like Doom Eternal, Rage 2, and of course the upcoming Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, which supposedly those games are still running on the Creation Engine, the same engine that powers Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. And my take on that has been kind of mixed. While it's great that it's certainly not bad that they're using this engine. After all, that engine was also used when they ported over, or at least when they had Iron Galaxy port over Skyrim to the Nintendo Switch, which opens the door to the possibility that Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 could come to the Switch. It does raise some concerns, especially after how Fallout 76 was handled, that we could be ending up with the same kind of situation with the upcoming Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield. So, the whole situation with Fallout 76 has been pretty bad, and honestly, wouldn't, even though I'm not a PC gamer or anything like that, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that we could see it go one day free to play or in a subscription fee or anything like that. I think most people, or at least most people in the comments I have responded thinking that it's going to eventually happen. So overall, for now, Bethesda is saying that it's not going free to play at this time, but don't rule it out entirely. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 5, and this one has to do with Square Enix filing a recent trademark. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 5 of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a recent trademark that Square Enix has recently filed. Now, as most of you are aware, Square Enix last year released what I consider, and this is from my view, the #1 Nintendo Switch game of 2018, and that was Octopath Traveler. Excuse me. Originally called Project Octopath Traveler, this game was shown off at the Nintendo event, the Switch event, back in January of 2017, as one of the exclusives coming to the Nintendo Switch. The game used a art style, but at the same time, it had like a bit of a 2D look, but it had also a 3D look to it. It was sort of a combination of old school 16-bit JRPG styles back in the days of games like the original like Final Fantasy 2 and 3 and so forth, mixed in sort of an HD visuals. And the game did sit very well with a lot of people. A lot of people enjoyed the story, enjoyed the visuals, enjoyed the gameplay and so forth. And now it seems as though Square Enix is basically rushing to file a trademark on the word, I think, HD 2D or 2D HD. I don't know which one they're trying to do. In an article on Game Informer and Tech Radar, it says, quote, that the word was first used in a Nintendo Direct when Square Enix described the art style of Octopath Traveler mix of a 2D and 3D, in terms of the phrase HD 2D. Now Square Enix is seeking ownership of this phrase. It is important to note they're only looking to own the term HD 2D, not the actual style, and it's supposedly being used in Europe. Tech Radar is also pointing out that the trademark, however, are particularly boarded, BROAD, and cover everything from future video game software to mouse pads to decorative magnets. So it could be for anything like that. So the fact that they're following this trademark is kind of interesting. Obviously they must be happy with Octopath Traveler, and they probably want to seize this opportunity to take control of this trademark going forward down the road. And it could mean that we could see the term HD 2D games from Square Enix down the road as well. It's possible that we'll see something with the so-called rumored, many people believe that a third Bravely Default game is in development, since the creators of Octopath Traveler are working on their next game. Some believe it could be used for, say, like maybe the sequel to Octopath Traveler 2, which, for what we've been hearing, supposedly they're thinking about what the sequel might be, although I suspect we won't hear anything a bit about that. Or maybe we could see it, maybe they could perhaps remake, maybe say like one of the old Final Fantasy games, I think Final Fantasy 2 or 3, and maybe use that HD 2D style with it as well. So either way, it's obviously clear that they basically want to be the first, basically want to make sure no one else uses this trademark or anything like that. So overall, given the fact that they are filing this trademark, expect to see any games from them, particularly using that art style. Expect to see the word HD 2D. You know that basically right now Square Enix owns that though. For the moment though, obviously they may renew it when the trademark expires or something like that, but you know, hey, if it means that we get to see more games like Octopath Traveler, whether it's coming to the Switch or any other systems like PC or the PS4 or the upcoming PS5 or Xbox One or the upcoming Xbox Scarlet, hey, I'm all down for that. I think the art style looks really neat, and I think it shows that not every game needs to have the most fanciest graphics out there. You can have an art style that makes up for that, though. Although at the same time, God of War shows that you can have a game that not only looks good, but also plays good as well. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get to part 6. And this one has to do with New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. And ironically, it's still, whether you agree with this or not, it's still #1 in the UK. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 6 of our My True Scent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe in the UK charts. Now, obviously, those who've picked it up, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe was released last week, though. And while the game has gotten some mixed reviews, mostly from some people who feel like they don't want to, that this should not have cost $60 and all that stuff, it didn't stop people from actually buying the game, as the game became #1 in the UK last week. Well, this week we saw the release of Ace Combat 7. That game came out, and despite that new game coming out, it wasn't enough to dethrone New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch as the #1 game so far in the UK. From an article from Game Industry Buzz, they're saying, quote, Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown just posted its biggest UK launch. The Bandai Namco flight game debut at #2 in the UK physical charts. It's the first game in the series since 2014's Ace Combat Infinity, the franchise debut in 1995. The game was the most popular on the PS4, with 76% of sales coming from Sony's platform. The PS4 version featured an additional VR mode. Despite its impressive start, the title couldn't top New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe from the #1 spot. The Nintendo Switch game retains its top position despite a 43% drop in sales week on week. It also points out that Tales of Despair dropped from #9 to #32 after 71% sales drop fall. That's kind of surprising, though. That's very interesting. The fact that a port of a game that was originally launched on the Wii U back in 2012 is still #1, despite the fact that a brand new entry of Bandai Namco's Ace Combat series couldn't even top the #1 charts, though. It almost kind of raised the question of what's going to happen once Resident Evil 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 come out. Are those games going to be able to dethrone New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe? And I would say that I would be shocked if that doesn't happen. I mean, no, I'm not saying I hate New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I don't. I just think it's surprising that even a new entry like Ace Combat 7 couldn't even top it, though. And so with Resident Evil 2 the remake coming out this week, it's going to be really interesting to see where it stands in the charts, though. It's possible it could dethrone New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. If it doesn't, I'm just going to be utterly surprised by that, though, alright? I mean, it will show, obviously, the Mario brand is still relevant, and that people are still willing to buy ports, even Wii U ports on the Nintendo Switch. So, overall, very interesting to see New Super Mario Bros. U still take the #1 spot in the UK. A little surprised to see Ace Combat 7 not being able to dethrone New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, although it entered at #2. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens when Resident Evil 2 comes out. How well will that do in the UK, and will that dethrone New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, or if Kingdom Hearts 3 does that in any way. So overall, I was a little surprised to see it's still doing well. I think that's a good thing. I think the game's doing great, but we're going to see what happens with Resident Evil 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3, and whether those games will be able to dethrone New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe on the UK sale charts. No. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 7, and this one has to do with supposedly some clarifications regarding the upcoming release of Final Fantasy X and X-2 for the Nintendo Switch. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our seventh part of our My Two Cent video for this week. And this one, we're going to be talking about some information that has come out about the upcoming release of Final Fantasy X and X-2 for the Nintendo Switch. Now, last year, though, it was announced that Square Enix was planning to bring several Final Fantasy games over. We know that Final Fantasy 7 and 9 are coming to the Nintendo Switch. For some reason, not Final Fantasy 8, which I think is a little bit of disappointment, and I think they should bring that over, though. The announcement of a remake of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and of course the announcement that Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, and Final Fantasy X and X-2 were coming to the Nintendo Switch. But there were some people that were concerned about the release of that game, considering that when the game was released on the PS Vita, though, the first game was available on the Vita. However, in order to play the second one, it came with a voucher, and you had to enter in a download code in order to play the game, though. And some people feared that that was going to happen with the Nintendo Switch. Well, apparently there's both good news and bad news on this one, though. In a report from Destructoid, and also picked up by several other sites, it's been reported, and according to them, in quote, in a disappointing but not entirely unexpected news, Final Fantasy fans planning to grab the physical edition of Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster for the Nintendo Switch will have to download X-2. A note from the official site for the Remaster Collection confirmed as much as Final Fantasy X HD Remaster available on game cartridge. Final Fantasy X-2 Remaster game content is available to download only. Single-use voucher included. Internet connection required. You need a micro SD card. Frustratingly, the Japanese and Southeast Asia version will fit both titles on a single cartridge, though. There were concerns about a potential download requirement on the Switch, given that the PlayStation Vita version of Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster came with a voucher for X-2. So it's not like we didn't see that coming, but that doesn't make this situation less vexing. Square Enix could have put more effort into for the physical buyer. Instead, the company prioritized keeping its manufacturing costs down. So it's sort of a mixed response to this one, though. On one hand, though, it looks like there will be a version available that will have 2 games into one cartridge, though, for Switch owners. However, it seems as though this will only apply to Southeast Asia and the Japanese version, as both the North America and the European version are basically going to have the second game only available through a voucher, so you're going to have to download, though. I'm not as hugely disappointed by this, but I'm not hugely disappointed, but I am a little angry about this one. The fact that the Japanese version is going to have both games in one, and not the North America and the European version is a little bit frustrated, though. The fact that that's happening, though, as we've seen several developers have found ways to bring their games over to the Switch, but kind of do it in a certain way, such as certain games require to download to get the rest of the data that will eat through your SD cards, to doing these voucher approach like we saw with Resident Evil Revelation. So it is a little bit unfortunate that this has to happen. But if there is a bright spot out of this, bear in mind the Nintendo Switch is region-free, though. Recently, I purchased Onimusha through PlayAsia and picked up the physical version rather than having to download it through the Nintendo eShop, and the game plays fine on the Nintendo Switch. So, if you're looking to get both games in one cartridge, though, you might want to consider the option of importing it, though. I know that might not be everyone's option, not everyone will be down with that, but it may be the only option if you're planning to basically get the game, if you want to get both games in one cartridge, though. Supposedly the game will have also an English subtitle and probably English dialogue, so at the very least, language barrier may not be an issue. But it is a little disappointing that North America and Europe is not getting both games in one cartridge, though, and I do think it kind of highlights one of the concerns in one of the issues that Nintendo Switch has. A lot of these cost and manufacturing issue, especially with a lot of people, a lot of developers don't want to spend a huge amount of money just to try to fit a game into one cartridge. This is something that I think Nintendo is going to have to address in the long run if they want to keep the Switch going and so forth. And while we know that supposedly they're working on a larger file size for the cartridge, that was supposed to come out last year but delayed it due to technical issues. Supposedly it will come out this year. Hopefully there isn't a delay or anything like that, so we'll have to wait and see. So overall, bad news is for North America and Europe, if you're going to pick up the Western version of Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2, you're not going to get Final Fantasy X-2 in the cartridge. You'll get a voucher. That said, since the Switch is region free, my guess is there will be some that will opt to go for just pre-ordering it or buying it through PlayAsia or any other place that sells import games and just get that version as instead. I did that with Onimusha and Okami for the Nintendo Switch. I went and bought the Japanese version downloaded through the Nintendo eShop, and more than likely I'll probably do this with Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2 since supposedly both games will be in one cartridge. So you gotta weigh your option on this one. This might be a disappointment for some, but this may not be a big deal for others. So overall, somewhat disappointed, but thank God the Switch is region free. So you do have another option if you want to get both games in one cartridge for the Final Fantasy X and X-2 for your Nintendo Switch. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 8. Alright, our final video, and this one just broke on Friday morning, even though this video will be posted on Saturday, regarding Metroid Prime 4. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 8th and final part of our My True Sense video. And for this one, this has to do with information that was just recently leaked, or should I say, Friday morning, regarding Metroid Prime 4. So, as some of you are probably aware of, back in 2017 during E3, Nintendo showed off a teaser trailer, no gameplay or anything, about the upcoming announcement of their game, Metroid Prime 4, and many people were excited to see that game make a comeback, though. For me, the Metroid Prime trilogy is some of my favorite entries in the Metroid Prime series. Metroid series, though, right next to Super Metroid, to be exact. The first one still remains a classic to many people. I enjoyed the second and third one. The second one, I liked the idea of switching between the light and dark power, and the third one sort of expanded upon, instead of doing it where it's basically confined to just one planet, you explore other planets as well. So, either way, the trilogy has always been a personal favorite of mine, though. So it was really nice to see the fact that they announced Metroid Prime 4 for the Nintendo Switch, though. And since then, there has been some information that has leaked over about it. We heard about like an internal development team was working on it. 2 rumors that Bandai Namco was basically working on it, though. Well, apparently they released a video in the morning, though, which they obviously disabled the comment section, most likely because there was a chance that there was going to be some people that were not going to be happy about it. Whether you agree with Nintendo doing that or not, that's open for debate, to be exact. But apparently, it seems as though that the game did not meet the expectations they wanted to, and decided to not only hand development of it over to Retro to handle it, so that kind of debunks the rumor of Retro being shut down. But it also means that we may have to wait a little bit longer, and it looks like they may be starting from scratch from it. In an article posted on GameSpot, and has most likely been picked up everywhere, it reads, quote, Nintendo has provided an update on the state of Metroid Prime 4. In a video, Senior Manager Executive Officer Shinya Takahasa, if I'm saying the name correctly, admitted that development of the game thus far hasn't reached the standard the publisher wanted, and the project has been rebooted. Additionally, Retro Studio, the Texas-based team that developed the 3 entries in the series, has been brought back to work on the sequel. He's basically saying, quote, although this is very regrettable, we must let you know that the current development process has not reached the standards we seek in a sequel to the Metroid Prime series. Nintendo has always strived for the highest quality in our games and in our development phase. We challenge ourselves and confront whether the game is living up to that quality on a daily basis. From this perspective, we have determined that the current development status of Metroid Prime 4 is very challenged, and we have made a difficult decision as a development team. We have decided to re-examine the development structure and change it. He also confirmed that Kensu Takanabe, Tanabe, apologize if I'm saying the name correctly, producer on the game, will work in trust and collaboration with the studio that developed the original Prime series, Retro Studio, and restart the development from the beginning. This collaboration, he said, will allow Nintendo to make a sequel that will meet the expectations of fans, though. Takahashi also, if I'm saying that correctly, also attempt to reset some of these expectations, practically around how soon people will be able to see and hear more about Metroid Prime 4. This change will essentially mean restarting development from the beginning. He reiterated it, so the completion of the game will be delayed from our initial plans. It will be a long road until the next time we will be able to update you on the development process, though, and development that time will be extensive. However, we will continue to develop the game so that when it's complete, it will stand shoulder to shoulder with the past Metroid Prime series title, though. So, I can understand why they are doing this and everything like that, and I applaud Nintendo coming out and coming out up front with not only their fans and basically saying, based on the situation, we need to fix this and all that stuff. So I applaud them for doing that, and I applaud the fact that they want to take their time and make sure they get this right, which is great and all that, compared to how we've seen other developers have come out and rushed their titles out that are either buggy or incomplete and everything like that. So I applaud Nintendo doing this, and obviously this wasn't a easy decision to make. That said, at the same time, I can't help but feel to some degree that it almost sounds like, well, why didn't you go to Retro Studio in the first place? Why didn't you let them develop Metroid Prime 4, to be exact, since that was the team that brought us the Metroid Prime series and all. So I'm just kind of mixed on this one. I understand Nintendo's decision on this. Obviously, they want to make sure that the game is released in the best quality possible, and that's understandable. I just feel that why didn't you just go to Retro Studio right from the beginning? And I do wonder what impact this will have on Retro Studio. Will they have to now put whatever project we're working on hold for the moment, though? I mean, there were rumors ranging from they were working on F-Zero to a Star Fox Grand Prix, to be exact. So, or whatever they were working on in any way, is that going to be canceled, delayed, put on the back burner for now? So I'm just a little concerned, just wondering what the situation is, and will any of the assets that were used in the development of Metroid Prime 4, will that be carried over though to the when they restart the development team, or are they completely scratching those assets and just clean slate, starting all over again? So there are still some questions to be asked about this though, and while it is a disappointment though, I mean, again, it is understandable. I think what Nintendo could do is maybe, just maybe, and I'm just tossing this out there, is that perhaps if the game's going to take longer to develop, then why not release maybe the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Nintendo Switch? Maybe give something that people can be occupied with while they wait for Metroid Prime 4. I mean, after all, Nintendo did release Bayonetta 1 and 2 over here on the Nintendo Switch as a way to sort of build up hype for the upcoming release of Bayonetta 3, which, barring anything happens, many suspect that it will be released this year or anything like that. So why not do something like that? Release the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Nintendo Switch. So overall, somewhat disappointed that this had to happen, but I understand their reason, and for all that though, still, I won't deny the fact that it does kind of feel like, why didn't they just go to Retro Studio to begin with in the first place? Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the announcement of the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventure 1 and 2 Deluxe coming to consoles, though? Is this a game are you looking forward to getting, though? Have you ever played the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventure games before? Did you ever play the first or the second one? Do you believe this is coming to the Nintendo Switch by any chance? What are your thoughts about this development team working on the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11? Do you have confidence the game will be handled properly? Do you think the final product, the game, will run well on the Nintendo Switch? Or do you fear this could be another WWE 2K18 kind of situation? What are your thoughts about the NPD for December 2018? Are you surprised Super Smash Bros. Made it in at number 1? Are you not surprised at all? Are you happy to see that Red Dead Redemption 2 or in Call of Duty Black Ops 4 are continuing to do very well? What are your thoughts about the rumors about Fallout 76, especially trying to go free to play? Do you think, and Bethesda's response, do you think Bethesda is right that this rumor is false and that there's no plans to bring it to a free to play? Or do you think that they're covering their asses, and it's only a matter of time before we hear the announcement that Fallout 76 is going either free-to-play or a subscription? What are your thoughts about Square Enix filing this trademark for HD 2D, though? Do you think this is a sign that we're going to see more games using that art style as well? Do you think this is a sign that this could be what we expect to see? The rumored, possibly if they're doing a third Bravely Default, Octopath Traveler 2, which many believe will happen, or any other games to be exact. Do you want to see this art style in other games as well? Maybe for a game maybe on the PS4, Xbox One, or PC, or more of these kind of styles on the Nintendo Switch. What are your thoughts about New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe being the number 1 game so far in the UK? Are you surprised by this? Are you not shocked by this? Do you think Resident Evil 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3 will dethrone it from the number 1 spot in the UK? What are your thoughts about the situation with Final Fantasy X and X-2 for the Nintendo Switch? At least regarding the European and the American version. Are you disappointed to hear the fact that only one of the games will be on the cartridge and you'll have to download the other one with a voucher? Does this impact your decision to pre-order the game or get the Western version? Does this change your opinion? Are you planning to pick up the Southeast Asia or the Japanese version, or are you going to skip this game altogether? And what are your thoughts about the announcement regarding Metroid Prime 4, in which the development team is which they are restarting development and going with Aulx Studio, though? Are you disappointed with this announcement? Do you think it was the right thing that Nintendo to do? Do you think that they should have gone with Aulx Studios in the first place? Do you think this would be an opportunity? Do you think Nintendo should use this opportunity to say maybe bring like the Metroid Prime trilogy over to the Nintendo Switch? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I do. Also, excuse me. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!